afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the UPHS Annual Conference Presenter Interview Series. I am your interview series host, Tressetta Alexander, business productivity coach and strategic consultant to solopreneurs, small businesses, nonprofits, and ministries. And today I am sitting down with Royle King, and I am excited to chat with him today. Royle, welcome.
Thank you, Tressetta. Happy to be here.
Why don't we start by you just introducing yourself and telling everyone a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. I'll start by saying I'm a complicated man who no one understands but his village. My name is Royle King II. I founded a young men's mentoring program called the Omega Lamplighters back in 2008 while I was a college student at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. I also have the esteemed pleasure of serving as the Leon County Volunteer Services Manager and overseer over Volunteer Leon. And my life is kind of a written scribe on where you can go with the right direction and guidance and why mentoring is important. So a big part of my life and how I've gotten to where I am is foundationally built on family and just people believing enough in me to pour into me. So that's a bit of who I am, and I just have a big passion for just giving back and helping people.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting because the previous interview that I just did, that I did about an hour or so ago, we got into talking about mentorship and how important it is for you to have those people in your life to help propel you forward. It makes a world of difference because none of us is successful all by ourselves.
Absolutely.
So you are co-presenting with Dr. Willie Williams for the annual conference next week, and your session is on youth engagement, talking about fostering our future leaders. What can attendees expect from this particular session?
So this is actually probably the prize gem for the conference. I didn't say it. Somebody else said it. I won't say who said it, but somebody did say it, and it wasn't me. But you can expect a very interactive conversation, even through the Zoom platform, but also educational. Dr. Williams and myself have a really good relationship, and we've done some presentations together, and so we kind of know what to do and what not to do in presenting, but also we've got a strong knowledge base on interacting and mentoring. So you can expect to get some tips on how you can begin to get involved, and then just successful tips for mentoring youth. And then Dr. Williams is going to also include that heavy data from that research perspective, where we are in our community and how organizations and people, how that data allows us to do the things that we need to do and make the adjustments we need to. But really just, communicating effectively through mentoring and activities and ideas that will help you strengthen your organization or individual, or to be able to start reaching out and forming more meaningful relationships through mentoring.
What do you think the major barriers are to engaging our youth?
Relationship. So a lot of times people, and this is, not just in general, will not approach the youth the way that almost, how do I say it? Almost just like family. The way you would treat your own kid is how you should approach any relationship in regards to mentorship. The same idea. And then if you don't have children, just the love you have for your own parents or siblings, it's important because youth can detect, a lot of times when you're genuine. So if you genuinely are interested in building that relationship with them, just overcoming, some of those initial boundaries and showing up. Relationship and showing up is probably the strongest barrier, consistency.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. I have a young lady, she's, well, a young adult now, that I've been mentoring for several years. And um, it's, I feel a lot of times I feel like I am the only constant in her life. Things are continually changing and shifting and moving. And so um, and when we first were developing that relationship, it was difficult for her to trust me because people had always let her down. And so, I think that that's one of the things that I think we fail to consider when we start wanting to show up for people, because it can't be a, um, in order to have impact, it can't be just a short-term thing. It's a commitment. Um, and if you're not going to be committed, you got to have a heart for it in order to commit to it. Um, I don't, well, what are some of the things that, I know you said come genuinely. What are some of the things that we can do as individuals to show up as mentors or better mentors?
So I guess the first step is kind of figuring out in what capacity you can mentor. So
Right.
is that one-on-one? Is that through a school program? Is it through a program like the Lamplighters? First, identifying the time commitment you have into being a mentor. So then once you figure that out, the next steps are to then whichever area that you like, I want to work specifically with one kid or I want to work with several kids in a program, figuring that out first, because if you overcommit yourself, what the worst thing that can happen is that a lot of times youth are already experiencing different things. So the last thing they need is someone else to come into their lives and not to stay. So first, examining yourself and really understanding what you can commit. So once you've done that and you figure out how you're going to do it, um, it's not rough in the beginning. It's because everybody is different, but it's just understanding that everybody's relationship initially is going to be different. Some people are just kids, youth are just come on in. I'm gonna welcome you. Some of them, it's a wall built up, but once the consistency breaks that down every day. So the first step is assessing yourself to see how and which way you want to commit. And then once you've done that, and you're interacting with youth, it's just being your true self. So if you don't like basketball and the kid likes basketball, you don't have to be, oh yeah, I love basketball. Like, don't do that. But because you have an interest in impacting their life, them knowing that you don't necessarily like basketball, but support them in that goes a long way. So really trying to bridge that gap with, being as open as you can about who you are, the experiences you've had, and not coming in here to tell them what to do, but you're coming in here to add into their development so that they can be on a much clearer line path for success in whatever it is they want to do, but then also helping them through those day-to-day challenges of just being a youth experiencing a lot right now, regardless of what's happening at home.
Yeah. Yeah. I know for some people, maybe they have the desire to, enter into a mentorship type relationship, but they're concerned about the generational gap. Where will they be received? Where there'll be relatability? What would you say to that person who's concerned that, that they might not be able to connect with a teenager or, an adolescent in general, just because of that simple age gap, because they're middle-aged?
Well, that's a good question. And I would just suggest to them that just step out there first, because you have experiences and lived in an area that youth doesn't. So finding a commonality that you all both enjoy, if like, for example, that's music, like say, okay, so as you're developing that relationship, introduce me to what you listen to and explain to me why you like this. Now let me introduce you to some of these genres that I listen to. And if it's a common ground where it's an equal interest, even though the times may differ, it'll automatically spark a relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just the again that the feeling that you develop with somebody. So yeah, at first they may be like, oh, this old person, but you don't have to come in again. Be yourself, trying to be the cool hip person. Just be your true self. Like, hey, like, I'm new to this mentoring thing. I'm here, but I want to help you in however I can. And just start by telling me your story. And hearing that story, you'll be able to, as a older person who've experienced life, be able to relate in some kind of capacity. And then that can just be your starting point in developing that relationship, to figure out what you all have in common, and then kind of base the building of that relationship from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. What would you want the attendees for the conference? What's one thing that you really hope that the number one thing that you hope that they will take away from your session and actually take some action on?
So the one thing that I'm hoping people take is that regardless of how uncomfortable or uneasy or whatever fears you have, taking that one step and figuring out how you can be a part of a youth's life not only changes their life, but it changes the lives of people who aren't even here yet. So that I would just encourage them to just take one bold step in some kind of capacity in mentoring. And if you don't have the time to obligate yourself to it, then do that financially. But figure out whatever it is that your gifts and talents have allowed you to accrue in this time, whether that be financial or time, whatever it is you have. I want people to be able to take away from this, that this is now the time more than ever, your opportunity to get involved and get back, whether that's in joining the team for the Lamplighters or volunteering in a school, whatever that is. I want people to know you can do it. And sometimes it doesn't really require as much as you think. And also the lasting impact that you could have on just one kid changes the lives of people who aren't even here yet, and then that kid's family at the same time. So you want to make a difference, you start with one, and in that one you can change the world.
Yeah, you know what that makes me think about? It makes me think about throwing of a rock into a still pond, where it's that ripple effect. You just threw one rock, right? You're thinking you're impacting just one person, but you're actually impacting every single person who comes in contact with that person, afterwards. And so, yeah, that's amazing. So we have given you a little taste of what to expect in the conference session for next week. So I think that we've whet your appetite. I know you want more. So if you want more and you have not yet registered for the annual conference for excellence in nonprofit management and leadership, then go ahead and click the link that I've included in this post description and register now. We have 3 different registration options for you. You can do the 1-day pass, 2-day pass, or we're really recommending that you do the all access pass, so that you can not only be able to attend sessions live, but you can get recordings of the track that you attended and all the other tracks that you can go back and watch at a later time. So go ahead and register today. Keep in mind, registration does close on Monday, so time is winding down for you to get your ticket. Royle, thank you so much for joining me today. It was absolutely a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you and to hear more about what you do.
Thank you so much.
Well, I will see you all for the next presenter interview with Miss Maisha Mitchell. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be back in about an hour with the next interview.